tell you the truth, mate, said that I've lived my life has been a 5-star life for 30 years. I worked on, I had a massive illusion show.
No, an illusionist, yeah?
And
Wow.
I just rebelled in the end. I got into trouble with cocaine to do the show. The only way I could cope with it was take cocaine to keep me awake. And all hell broke loose. And I just rebelled.
Sorry, I'm smiling, not because
No,
it's amusing. It's a crazy
yeah,
story. You take care, matey. Ta-ra now. So, you will have gathered, I'm on the move, leaving the lovely and picturesque, it's not picturesque, is it? I'm overdoing it again, Handsacre. Didn't try the pub, I was only here 2 nights. Dave tried it. Mind you, Dave thinks all pubs are okay, I think. As long as you sell real ale of some sort, he's fine with it. So, already, I can see, the guy behind me, by the way, he's just mooring up. I just had a little chat with him, you might have heard some of it. I don't want to, you know. Anyway, but he seemed like a decent guy. He was an illusionist, really, he said he was really well known. Decades-long showbiz career, and he just got fed up with it. I'm sorry I had to sort of leave, to be honest with you. I could have had it sounded like I could have had a really interesting chat with him, but when you gotta go, you gotta go, and I gotta go. So yeah, I'm on the outskirts of Handsacre. I actually did this little stretch about 12 days ago, the first time I came down for water to the water point while I was at Rugeley. Whether it's Rugeley or Rugeley, it's in the past now, so I don't care. But feel free to, you know, educate me. While I was at Rugeley, I'm going to go for Rugeley. I came down for water and this was as far as I went. There's a winding hole here, and I turned and went back. About an hour and a half. The guy there was contemplating pressing onto Rugeley, and for whatever reason he's decided to stay put. But yeah, no, it's amazing, like, honestly. The people, oh shit, I'm looking for the remote, this little, honestly, this vlogging gear, like, it is worth it, sort of, but some of it I do think, really, there is the winding hole. Don't think I had any particular trials and tribulations there. I think I've got round in more or less a normal fashion. But I'm heading down today to the very famous Fradley Junction. Here on the left, there's a slight downslope, and below there's a big plain. That's it, really. That's all I can say about it. There is nothing of it. There are woods. It's very rural. But thinking about it, it sort of would be. I think the area around Fradley and south of Rugeley, I think, is very rural. So that's kind of not a surprise. But anyway, now that we're free of the moored boats, I'm going to get the foot down. 1200, we can do better than that. Let's go for 1250. Let's go for 13. Okay, let's go for 13. And pardon me, that vestige of that cough. Honestly, I think it's been about 2 weeks now. But I've heard people mention your ears prick up when you've got one or recently had one. Your ears do prick up when you hear people relating their tales of woe when they had one, and you know, whatever, someone they know. And it does seem to me that something has been going around, some disease or other has been doing the rounds. Got some willows. Do you know that's the only species of tree I think I can reliably identify as the willow tree. Perhaps oak as well. Right, so ahead of me, there's a boat coming round the bend. I knew this was going to be the case, and I think, you know, once you get into summer, what are you going to do? You've got to get used to it. It can be a little bit stressful trying to make room for boats coming the other way. Hopefully we'll both get through it unscathed. From where I can see, I've got some branches sticking out, so I'm going to have to come across a little bit towards it. Yeah, there's more sticking out ahead, but those I can miss by turning now. Afternoon, guys. Here we go.
There's one behind me as well. There's a boat moored just by the bridge as well.
Very kindly, the guy just clued me in that there's another boat coming behind him. It does make me wonder what the state of the locks, what the state of play at the locks. Right. I'm going to slow down, right? If he said there's a boat behind him, he didn't say how far, but usually it's not that far. So I'm going to stick my front end out a little bit. At the moment, I'm in tick over. At the moment, I'm going to make it to that bridge hole before an oncoming boat. Right, it's 50-50. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pause. Let's see if I can slow down. This is exactly what you don't want. He's marginally closer. He's marginally closer than I am. But because I've slowed down, I went into tick over. If I'd carried on, I think I would have been okay. What's it like on this side? It's good in a way, all this shenanigans, because it teaches you sort of manoeuvring. Your manoeuvring skills do get better. But I think I need to just get more pace off the boat because I'm going into the bushes up ahead, and that I don't want. I'm just going to let this guy squeeze through, and then my front end's swinging round towards him, but it's okay now because he'll be clear. He didn't actually say thanks. The guy wasn't a hire boat either. He didn't actually say thanks. He sort of waved his arm like this. Not even like a wave, like a direct wave, like a sort of a, I don't know, weird backhand. A weird backhand motion. It's almost like some people, I'm getting slightly annoyed. It's almost like some people are reluctant to give thanks. I could have made a case for pressing on, and I've seen many boats where it's almost 50-50. Even if they're slightly further away, they'll just push their luck and go for it. I've seen that loads of times. So I think the fact that I, you know, gave way, to be honest, deserved a better acknowledgement than what it got. But anyway, it was a wave. What are you going to do? A wave's better than nothing, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. So, there we go. I've been going for a quarter of a mile. 2 boats already. One of them just at a bridge hole. And not only at a bridge hole, but in a position where it was 50-50 who was first. And that's summer cruising for you. But as I started to say and got distracted from saying, it does kind of hone your skills. All the ducking and diving and hovering and reversing and just general shenanigans. I feel like it does improve your boat handling. I'm feeling the wind from this side. I'm just sort of thinking aloud really, but it's all thinking aloud, isn't it? But I'm just as I was saying those words, I felt the breeze coming from this. So if we're going generally south, if this is south, it winds so much though. I'm going broadly south-east, but it winds so much. In any particular section, I could be going due east, I could be going due south, I could even be heading slightly north again. You know, it winds around so much. Yeah, shame in a way. That guy, he sounded like he had a hell of a story to tell in showbiz for years, and just decided to give it all up. And here he is on a canal boat. You know, when people say, and when I've said in the past, you meet all sorts of different people. Now look, I'm not getting away from the fact that the majority, by some way, are retired or older couples in their 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. The majority aren't liveaboards. In the summer, I think only about a sixth, maybe a seventh of all the boats are actually full-time liveaboards. But it's a whole range, as I think I've said before. Some people live on their boats for a month each year. Some live on their boats for 6 months of the year, some all year, some 9 months. Some will just put the boat in a marina for the 3 worst months of winter and then they're out again. So, you know, this thing about full-time liveaboards, sometimes it's think of it as a grey scale, a sliding scale, whatever. It isn't just you live aboard or you don't. I mean, nice and respectful. I think I'm still doing slightly above 2 miles an hour. But what I did there was I did that little scumbag trick that so many do, where they'll come right up to your boat, and when they're about 10 yards away, they'll go into like tick over revs. I've said this before, but it's kind of annoying because you know what they're doing, they still whiz past. There's no time for them to lose any speed worth a damn, you know, fraction of a mile an hour. They're still doing almost full speed when they go past. I'm approaching a bridge hole, and now this is the season where I've got to watch out at bridge holes now. So, and there's a child up above, so I'm going to wave. Hello. Yeah, don't fall in. Bye bye. Here's a boat coming. Again, I'm gonna be getting this all afternoon. Fair play, you know, it is what it is. It's not too bad a section. What you hope is, when you see a boat approaching, they're not going to be one of those guys who sort of tries to hog the middle, as I've said before. Often what people will do is stay towards the middle until the last 100 yards, and then they'll swing out of the way. They're not playing chicken, it's just the way they do it. What I find I do, I give too much space. That one was okay. Oh yeah. But we had a decently wide section there, so no stress on anyone. I've got gold membership of River and Canal Rescue. It's like the canal version of the RAC, the AA, and there'll be an American version. Well, there'll be a version in all the countries, won't there? Any developed country breakdown service. So yeah, River Canal Rescue gold membership, which I think means any boat that I'm on is also got the option, if it breaks down, of calling an engineer out to it. Not that I go on many people's boats, to be fair, other than just have a couple of beers. You know, I never really get rides on other people's boats. It sort of isn't a thing. Because if you're going somewhere, someone needs to move your boat, and obviously that's going to be you. So the opportunity to ride on other people's boats, doesn't sort of happen. It's a bit grim, weather-wise. It's a bit grim. Slightly. Listen, again, I'm overdoing it, aren't I? It would be grim if it was pouring down with rain. That's grim. Or howling wind. But because of all these trees, there is wind, but because of all these trees, I'm okay. I'll be not okay if we go into an open stretch, but that is not the case here. What was I going to say? These ephemeral, nonsensical thoughts. No, there was something worthwhile for a change that I was going to say. Oh yeah, sorry, just to finish that thought off. There are some times, right, where, like in a heat wave for instance, tree cover is brilliant. Anything that keeps the direct rays of the sun off of your boat on those days is a bonus. Unless there's really good airflow, the air temperature will build up inside. But you add the rays of the sun, dark coloured paint as well, soaks up the heat, and by midday I've been in places where I simply just couldn't. It was almost impossible to sit in the boat. It was just so uncomfortable with the heat. There's a family of swans up ahead, but they're not going to attack me or something. Swans are so protective, it's ridiculous. Look, they're all munching away. And it's like, yeah, you better go past, motherfucker. Don't mess with us. If you look at them too closely, they either assume you're going to give them food, or they get aggressive towards you, you know. So I've got a text from Dave. This is the great thing about cruising. This is what I'm going to miss about cruising with a company. The boat's heading your way, so the lock should be set by the time I get there. I think there was a boat about 5 or 10 minutes in front of me, so he won't be at the lock yet. He'll set it against me. But there could be another 2 or 3, 4 boats go past just in this section. But this is a good thing anyway, is that you can get a heads up. If you're approaching a mooring spot, your colleagues can say, oh no, there's no space here, stop where you are, you know, stop early. They can just clue you in to make the best decision, and sometimes it's great, you know. It is really good. I'm not, you know, just wouldn't knock it at all. But the downside of that, cruising in a convoy, is you cruise into other people's schedules, you know. And got a bit of a deja vu feeling about this, but I think I've said it. I think there's something about people who spend time on boats and live aboard boats, that one of the things they're looking to do is, sorry, I'm just switching on the GPS on the map so it'll tell me where I am, because it wasn't on due to an oversight. Right, we're actually not far away. First lock, 1.5 miles. Yeah, so I'll text Dave back and tell him. And also I will carry on looking at where I'm going, because we've got a bend, and you know what Sod's Law says? If you've got a bend coming up, that'll be when the oncoming boat appears. So we're all clear. So 1.5 miles. What am I doing speed wise? I'm too far over. I keep drifting on over to the right, and I'm asking for I can see the tree roots reaching down underneath the surface. Honestly, stay in the middle of the cut. I haven't used any horsefly repellent today. Again, I don't want to leave it till I get bloody bitten before I start using it. And they're cunning little devils as well. They can land on the back of your neck. You can hardly feel the things. Oh, anyway, today's not the day to, you know, slag off horseflies. 1.5 miles. That is at this speed. I think we're doing 3 miles an hour. I'll check in a minute because there's a guy coming at me. It's 30 minutes. So this was a good shout. Thick shirt, right? Thick shirt, but no coat. I've had the anorak on, but it's too much. Now it's open. Even as I'm saying it, the tree cover's vanished on the right, and now it's. I need it. Still about 1.5 miles. I've not. Yeah, now I need it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Give it a few minutes. Right, something. I think that's a horse. You horrible little fucker. I think a horsefly has landed right. So I'm going to do a thing where I splat it. I think that was right. Okay, time to spray. It landed on the deck on the roof in front of me. Spray the back of me. Always spray the back of my neck because it'll dissuade them. Spray the shoulders. This stuff's repellent. It's not like a toxic thing. Spray the roof. I also spray, generally speaking, this is running out, I also spray around the stern as a sort of a deterrent. Well, no, as an actual deterrent. I've just got some of it up my nose. But yeah, I think that was like a young horsefly. It was exactly the right colour, that kind of mid-brown, and I think it was the right shape. That was a horsefly. That was the first one. It wasn't one of the adults, fully adult ones. I mean, I might be wrong, you know, maybe they'd come out of their pupa or whatever they'd come out of, the larval stage. Maybe they come out full-sized, I don't know. But that didn't look like a full-sized horsefly. The first horsefly of the season. Dun, dun, dun. Honestly, that's like the music of my mind at the moment. The first horsefly. Dun, dun, dun. Terror on the cut. So there's some boats coming up, there's a bridge hole, and I need to slow down as soon as I'm through. I'm going to get through and then I'm going to slow down. I do. I don't know why I do that Yorkshire how do thing. It's just, it feels inappropriate, but sometimes higher doesn't seem the right phrase. Normally for me it's higher. Okay, so line bend. Right, this is where I don't want any flipping bother here. I don't want bother, because I'll tell you what we've got a line of moored boats, we've got a bend up ahead there and I can't see around it, and even worse, we've got branches sticking right out about 10 feet out into the canal. So It's just potluck really. You're hoping at least let me get past these branches before you throw an oncoming boat at me. They genuinely do stick out a hell of a way. Almost like they've fallen. So I'm just turning around the outreaching branches. That. Right, now we're past the boats. Foot down. Dave's texted me again. Let's see what's going on. I'm not going to do a map check because I feel like that wasn't King's Bromley, by the way. That was just some random moorings, but we're not far. Let's see what young David had to say for himself. Spot now taken in front of me. Okay, so what that means is I've got to stop. Right, so I've asked Dave, he's walking up towards me. This must be the marina, by the way. I think. I had a feeling we weren't far from it. I'm seeing a sign, this has got to be it. Yeah, so the lock's not far. The lock is perhaps 2/3 of a mile now. So we have covered a little distance. I'll double check on the map. But on the right here, we're now approaching, I think, King's Bromley Marina. And we'll see. Well, we'll see nothing really. We'll see what it's like, as we always do. I did pass by this way. I think I've mentioned a couple of times on previous vlogs. My route north towards, you know, the northwest of England, Nantwich and so on, came up this stretch of the Trent and Mersey before I turned off down the Staffs and Worcester. I did come up this way, but none of it's ringing a bell. Certainly this marina's not ringing a bell. Not even Cannock Chase and Rugeley rang a bell, which is kind of disappointing because it was a lovely place. But yeah, no, this isn't ringing a bell. But it looks like a nice marina anyway. Yeah, it is King's Bromley Waterside Marina. There'll be a cafe in there. And Nationwide Boat Sales is in there as well. I just don't see myself in a marina. I just don't. It's just not my style. And listen, I'm not going to lie, like it is partly. Is this a boat? There's a dark shape. It is a boat. It's not just because of it feels like a waste of money. When you can moor on the towpath and have facilities close by for most of the time, you know, why do you want to use a marina, sort of thing, is my thinking on it. It was handy for me in 2020 when I was working from the boat. I won't lie, it was handy not having to go and fetch water, drive the boat to a tap and all that stuff. Like, that was handy. I can't lie. I'm sort of hovering because there's something sticking out on my side. I don't know whether it's a tree branch or what, but I don't want to go past it. So I'm just going to edge forward, and once he's passed, I'll move right and miss that, whatever it is, that's on my side. Right, let's go. Good afternoon, guys. The floating thing, whatever it was, is now gone. Anyway, so there's some disused industrial. Oh, Bromley Wharf. Now this doesn't look like 200-year-old canal architecture. This isn't the same as the stuff around Stoke with those kilns, you know, the bottle-shaped kilns. It was a wharf, King's Bromley Wharf. It was a wharf, clearly, and it's been involved with the canal trade, but it looks more recent. So yeah, it didn't all die out 200 years ago and stuff. Clearly this is more modern and was in use. You know, I've no idea how old that is. It certainly doesn't look any older than 100 years. I mean, unless it's been rebuilt. Anyway, you know, once again, I find myself expounding at length on an issue where my feelings are rather marginal. Let's put it politely. I was going to use the phrase "I don't give a shit," but I'm too much of a gentleman. Not too many boats, you know. The Llangollen was worse than this, 100%. Twice as many boats, I would say. Oh, no, we're still a mile away. We're still a mile away. Yeah, we've only done half a mile, and that's as the crow flies as well, so a bit longer than that. So still another 20 minutes. I think I'll just put the old foot down a bit. There's a lovely smell of some kind of cooking or something. I don't know what that is. This must be an alternative entrance. Either, no, this is a separate marina. It couldn't be that big. It's a separate little thing. There's some lovely looking houses here. Wood stores out in the back. It must be just wood smoke. Yeah, they just put a load of logs on their fire. You see the wood smoke coming out. It's got that more pleasant smell. It's got that more pleasant smell. This is, what's this? Boat building, no turning wishing, leisure moorings available. So in association with Bromley Wharf. This is like a boat builder's yard thing. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's all still rural around. There's no towns, and there's no towns now for quite a while. I think Fradley itself is not a big place. Lichfield is perhaps 4 miles south of here, maybe not even that, and that's a fair size. So we're not completely out, you know, middle of nowhere stuff, but you very rarely are in England. You're very rarely more than sort of 4 miles from a town, at least a small town or a large village, you know, those sorts of large village situations. And I'll tell you something else as well. It's not for future reference because there won't be more in here and there's no practical use from it, but the towpath is absolutely immaculate. It's as smooth as glass and tarmacked and everything. Yeah, not tarmacked. Anyway, it's paved, some sort of, I call it tarmac, it's paved, it's whatever. It's hard, it's surfaced. Probably the technical word is for it is surfaced. There's a little moorhen there, could have fed her. They're giant. You don't realise, you know, how big their feet are. How big the claws are on the feet, the limbs. No, they're not limbs, are they? They're appendages. Your arm is a limb, your finger is an appendage. Is the finger a limb? Does anyone care? Just shut up. Stop it. And this is a short cruise as well. Imagine how bad it gets on like a 5-hour cruise. And I'll tell you something else I've done which I didn't do last year. I've used the stove the last 2 days because I found the daytime temperature about 13 degrees and there's no sun. And when there's no sun, it's a genuine 13. The boat doesn't get any heating up effect. And when the entire side of the boat is 13 degrees all day or lower, you feel that. Like you can warm up temporarily, but you put your diesel central heating on, if it works, which fingers crossed, touch wood and everything, it soon will. It's working on and off at the moment, can't rely on it. But yeah, when the interior of the boat, in these conditions where it feels more like March, you know, early April, whatever, it's nice to have that consistent dry heat in the corner of the room. Just takes that chilly edge off of the room. It just makes it into a comfortable, you know, temperature when you're indoors. It's definitely the way to go. I know my boating buddy Richard, he goes through a thing where he sweeps his chimney, takes the chimney lid. No, that is the chimney, isn't it? The thing that goes on top. Takes that off, sweeps the chimney flue, and you know, cleans out his stove. I don't know, he does the whole thing, and that's it. Decommissioned effectively, like a nuclear reactor, you know. Well, that's the way he sort of treats it. And he was a bit chilly when I met him. It was a bit chilly. We were on the Bridgewater, and I think it was mid-May, earlier than this, when I met him last year. And I was like, just put your I'll give you some coal. Put your stove on, because he was, you know, he was getting cold. And he was like, no, it's all the palaver. I was like, put the lid back on it if you're cold, if you're uncomfortable. Just put the chimney back on, man. But he wouldn't have it. And his central heating, his diesel thing, was broken. Oh yeah. Hire boat. Lady drive. Normally, the reason I'm looking surprised is because normally on a hire boat, you find that the bloke is the one driving. So presumably the bloke's inside doing a brew or something. In fact, it's a longboat. There might be kids as well. And that's great. Do you know what? I mean, all joking aside and everything, it's great seeing families with kids out on the cut in these boats. It really is. Quite apart from the practical thing of you're raising children like future enthusiasts of the canals, if things go well, you know. It's just great to see kids on the cut, because you don't see them all that often. And I think, and that's why, do you know, in the summer, right, when it gets a bit mental, I mean, I know I'm saying mental, I've been cruising along and that's the first boat I've seen for 10 minutes. And I'm going, oh, it's crazy, it's madness out here. It's sort of just made a lion out of me. But the first quarter of a mile, I did see 2 or 3 boats. So, you know, I'm not entirely, you know, exaggerating or lying or whatever. And anyway, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, kids, yeah. I just think it's great. They liven the place up. They bring a sort of, kids have got a kind of a joy that adults don't have. I wish there was more of it, really. You know, because you don't want the canals to just be full of old, miserable old buggers like me. You know what I mean? It just makes it so dull. Everyone's retired or approaching retirement. You know, everyone thinks they're Captain f***ing Bligh. Hold fast, sir, on your boat. Give way, sir. You know, but I'm looking around to see if anyone's. You know, when I go a bit over the top, I do double check just in case. On the left now, it's opened out into meadows and farmland, and I'm pretty sure those are fields with crops behind the line of trees. Yeah, it is. That's definitely a crop of some sort. I heard the farmers have had a terrible struggle this year because the weather's been unseasonably wet, persistently wet weather, which of course is curtains for, you know, crops need to dry out, don't they? Too much water can be as bad as no water at all, or too little water. Anyway, you know what I mean. I'm not going to pretend I'm a big farming expert, obviously, because well, you know, you're not going to believe it for a kick-off. It's hardly credible, is it? So I'm not going to announce that. But I've seen a couple of news articles and people covering this as a story, saying the farmers are really struggling. The crops have been sort of devastated. In the old days, listen to me, in the old days, a few hundred years ago, well, let's say 600-700 years ago, you know, let's go back at Middle Ages and shortly after, if that had happened back then, people would have been going hungry, like big time. And Dave's texted me again. Right. Yeah, 0.4 miles to the lot. There's the crows out. The unmistakable sound of corvids. Now that is just crows, isn't it? Magpies are corvids, I think, but they don't make that sound. There's a lot of it. They're making a right racket. I ended up buying a catapult after my tragic run-in with a crow, a persistent crow on the Llangollen in that summer of 2020. There was one that kept on walking up down. Before I had the rear solar panels, he possibly wouldn't be able to do it now, but the back end of the roof was clear, and he was marching up and down there 4:30 in the morning. I was getting woken up, I couldn't get back to sleep. It just turned into a night. I had to leave the spot. I couldn't stay there, but I couldn't do anything to discourage the crow. Anyway, afterwards I bought a catapult, and I practiced as well. I would literally practice with steel pellets, with the idea that if that ever happened again, you know, I would have some way of discouraging the bird from ruining my life. It never happened since. So, and I don't think with my roof the way it is now, then again the roof would be empty in the summer in the middle, and they'd still land and peck at the mushroom vents. They must be attracted to shiny things. They do say that, don't they, about magpies? They're attracted to shiny things. I didn't know crows were, but it was pecking away at the roof vents. God, it was like ding, ding, ding. It was like literally ringing a bell, but persistently. It would not stop. Anyway, you've heard all about the tale of the crow. My run-in with that crow, honestly. I've never realised I could feel hatred for a bird before that. You know, literally visceral hate. I wanted the bird dead. Like Al Capone in that film. I want him dead. I want his family dead. I didn't want the bird's family dead, but I wanted the bird dead. I'm sorry, I might as well say it. My intentions were evil towards that bird. But of course, being the ineffectual clown that I am, it was never in the slightest danger. I did have a crow disturbing some ducklings, newborn ducklings milling around, and a crow landed. Oh, there were more hen chicks, and the crow was like eyeing them, thinking, could I get one, you know? And so I shot this catapult close to its feet, and that put it off. I didn't try and kill it. You could probably seriously injure a crow. That's the thing, if you seriously injure a bird with a steel pellet of a catapult, it's game over, isn't it? Its career is over as a corvid. You will have really damaged, you'll probably break a bone. It's little tiny rib bones. You know, you've doomed the bird, so you might as well put it out of its misery. I don't know why I'm even saying that. Talking about dealing a death blow to birds that have mortally wounded. This is where my thoughts were going with that crow. This is how bad it got. But of course the bird was in no danger. Which also, you know, if ever I was in a survival situation, the preppers all go for, you know, shit hits the fan situation. which they're all convinced is going to happen sooner or later, to the certainty that they will invest hundreds in survival gear and food and ration, all sorts of stuff. And who's to say? Who's to say? Anyway, putting aside the likelihood of that scenario, like I wouldn't last 5 minutes. Quite apart from the fact that I can't run more than 10 yards without getting sore knees. I couldn't hit anything. I couldn't hit anything to save my life. Right now there's a moored boat. I think what I've done here is I've reached what I'm very close to, the moorings at the lock. I have, yeah. And disappointingly, they're occupied. This could end up being a bit naughty here. Not just two, there's 3 boats. There could potentially be a space. Let's see if there's a boat coming through. Oh, is there Armco there? There is actually Armco here. I feel like I can do better. It's a bit of a worry, right? We're still 1.5 miles from Fradley, probably. It's a worry that the 3 available moorings on Armco above the lock are all taken, and that's not what you want to see. Dave said there's no spaces at Fradley, so this little hour-long jaunt could turn into a thing. We shall see. Can I ask you a quick question, mate? Do you know if there's any mooring below the lock?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
There's a bit down there, brilliant. I might just press on through for this afternoon. So for all the sort of thing about Dave, I'm setting off and it was like 11 o'clock this morning and, you know, that seemed like crazy early. He's not at the lock now, and I'm here. Because look, if you can see behind me there, there's a space that will fit this boat. But it looks like our boy Dave is not here. I can now see a boat approaching in the distance. The lock is full, so I'm gonna hope that they will assist me to go through. But let's see. Don't know if the camera will show it, but down there in the distance there's a boat, but the lock's almost full, if it isn't actually full. Beautiful scenery over on the left. So I think if this doesn't push open, it might just need a little bit of paddle. Let's see. No, it's not going to push open. It'll just need a little bit to fill it. Finish filling it. It's in my favour now. With that boat approaching, if the lock had been empty, I would have left it for them. But because it's full, or nearly full, I'm just going to top it up. And thankfully, it's a nice easy one as well. You can see the level of the canal's quite high, isn't it? Compared to where the lock is at. You know, the lock is close to, it's only about 4 inches from overflowing. So, but it has been raining a lot last few days, and in particular yesterday. We had a lot of rain. Now hopefully, with a little bit of luck, this crew on the approaching boat will come and work the lock, unless this is Dave. I can see someone running up, approaching. So maybe this will be our man himself. Oh, yeah. There we go. Right, won't be a tick. It just needed, yeah. So, I don't know what these guys are going to do. With a little bit of luck here, they'll work me through. But it's not like Dave to just, like, leave it so late. Now, I'm hoping there's a spot that I can moor down here. Because Dave's saying at Fradley, there's nothing. So I'm really hoping that I've got a spot. And I don't know if I've been misled. I asked the old guy that I went past in that boat back there. And he said, yeah, he said there's spaces down there, you'll find somewhere, whatever. Seemed very confident. But when I looked on Google Earth, you know, you can get an idea of it. Because they give you photographs of what the towpath looks like. It didn't look like there was much down there. No, he's walking away. The guy's walking away. He came running up. I don't know, maybe he thought perhaps the lock's at a low level. I don't know what he thought, to be honest, but he came hurtling up and jogging up. Coming in at a bad angle. And I thought he was going to help me through, because it'll certainly speed things up if he does. But he's disappeared again. Normally what a boater will do, if he's got a crew, he'll say, you wait here, like I'll work the locks. I'm getting a little bit anxious. If there's nothing down below the lock here, I'm going to have to carry on through to Fradley. Oh, cheers, mate. Nice one. It's alright, I'll do that. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, one of you. I might just do this one. Got to be sharpish before it goes too low. But it's very full, isn't it? Is that it? Yeah. Right, so I'm staying away from the back. I'm just going to pop inside for a sec, so if I head towards the back, shout me. Only be 2 minutes. I did. Dave, are there any moorings down there? Armco, that'll do for me. Thanks for your help there, mate. Cheers. Hello. Hello, what are you doing? So I think if Fradley's chock-a-block then, Dave, I might as well stop here.
Either Armco's here or Pim's.
Yeah. This Armco's good. So there's a little bit of a bywash, but not too bad. So I'm going to get past it. I think Dave will work the lock for that guy. Good afternoon. I think I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, apparently Fradley's all full, so might as well stop here, I think. Yeah. Oh, is it? Right. Right, so I've done this really, really badly. But I hope I can rectify my stupidity by stopping the boat. I'm just sort of trying to decide where's I want to leave space for about 3 boats, which I think I've done. That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have 3 boats, unlikely to have 3 boats.
So it's only about 1.5 miles, isn't it, to Fradley? Like a mile. So I was thinking I'll have no problem getting down there on the e-bike because it's all towpath. Right, so what I'm going to do then, if you don't mind, yeah, just hang on to oh, I wonder if maybe a tad further. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere here, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is no, I was thinking it's kind of like axe murder territory. No one can hear you scream from here. Oh, do you know what I've not done? I've not taken account of the fact that I need an angle. I need an angle in, so I'm going to have to go a foot or 2 back actually. Yeah, I'll pop down tomorrow and have a few farewell beverages in the Swan. Have you been in yet? Or yeah, that is a silly question, isn't it? Oh, you're mooring guys, yeah? Ah, right. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly why I thought you were going through, to be honest.
We were going to, and then we looked and it's busy above. So
right, yeah.
we might as well stop.
Stop here, yeah. But no, that's exactly why I did. I thought if anybody does want more, I might as well get as much space, give them as much space as I can. There's so many axe murders in these parts, you know, you got one more on your own, you know what I mean? Safety in numbers. So fair, do you know what I mean?
I don't know, these guys aren't the Australian.
Well, yeah, Australian axe murders could be.
Oh, it's quite spot, I think.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't think you'll get anywhere quieter.
Yeah.
I really don't. Someone showed me this the other day.
Oh, safety bending over.
Safety bending over, yeah. For a gentleman of a certain age and frailty like myself,
For me.
yeah, this is a really handy little thing. When I can do it. Right, is there a mooring chain up there? I would normally have left it up there. Where the hell's? Oh no, it's in front of me. As ever. And then, yeah, it's well. Do you know what it is? Right, I have this tiny little sort of a YouTube thing, but nobody ever watches it. So, which is good though, because it means you never get recognised or hassled, you know.